Hello and welcome to Amplify Digest. I'm your host, Lars Schmidt, where each week I break down some of the top news and trends and all things people in 5 minutes or less. I've been traveling a bit, enjoying the summer, so I know I didn't get a digest out last week, but it's good to be back and there's a lot to catch up on. Starting with this week, you've probably seen some of the press or backlash around Malcolm Gladwell's op-ed about why he feels remote work doesn't work and some of the limitations. And so the piece made the rounds, particularly in conservative media, and then met with an understanding backlash, including clips from former pieces that Malcolm has written around why he enjoyed working from coffee shops. And the bottom line is, as we are now entering this phase where there is some level of a downturn in the market, there will be some pressure to revert back to old ways of working. And this was reinforced by this piece in The Verge that was a really interesting article a couple weeks ago about a town hall that Mark Zuckerberg led at Facebook, where he basically kind of called out the need for employees to be, working harder, being more focused, kind of said point blank, there's some employees that shouldn't be there. And similar news from Google as well, and their CEO about the need to track efficiency and productivity even more. And the reality is as we have been making strides over the last several years around new ways of working, remote work, hybrid work, flexible work, there is certainly a contingent of leaders who want to go back to an old way of working that had much more of an office-centric focus. And pieces like this are just going to reinforce those shifts and even speak a bit more to speaking of hybrid. I also want to share this really fascinating report from the National Bureau of Economic Research, and it gets into some of the impact of hybrid work on productivity. And so again, I think for those of us in roles where we are making decisions around where employees work and how they work, the more data we can have with reports like this, the better we'll be able to make more informed decisions about what's going to be best for our business, and the better we'll be able to advise our leadership teams with actual data and not op-eds by pundits around what will work and what does not work for our employees and our workforce. That is a wrap for this week. I'll be back next week with more news and updates, including be unveiling the first group of guest instructors for the upcoming Amplify Academy cohort. So very excited to do that. And in the meantime, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I will see you next week. How some of the gains that we've made over the last couple of years around areas like not just flexibility, but diversity, equity, and inclusion, may perhaps be wound back with some of the current economic headwinds that we may be facing. Lots of organizations have had layoffs, and this piece in Wired gets into how some of those may actually have a adverse impact on diversity gains, both in terms of layoffs and also, looking through some of the cuts that have been taking place over the last 6 months, particularly in tech. There's been many instances where the diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging teams were part of those initial rounds of layoffs, in some cases taking out the entire teams. And that's a very, scary kind of situation to be, monitoring and tracking. I think we've made some strides over the last couple of years. We can easily backslide if we're not vigilant. So I think for us in the HR and people operations space, it's really important that we are mindful of that, aware of that, and don't allow those efforts to be deprioritized in our work as we work in organizations that might be, going through other cost-cutting measures and tightening the belt, so to speak.